Hello, hello. All right. We are about to get started, everyone. So please, if your mic is unmuted, make sure it stays muted for the very start. Thank you very much. All right. Uh, V, count me down. Let's get started. All right. Perfect. Here's stage amplify. There you go. Hi, loud and clear. Sorry, let's try this again. Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to this workshop of ours. Today, I'm going to try and hopefully teach you some methods, some theory, and some exercises that you can use to make your voice sound more feminine or more masculine. So I hope you enjoy this little session here. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of voice work, I have to make some things clear that are really important. Vocal hygiene is paramount and really important to voice work. So the most important thing that you should be looking at is, excuse me, Gimpa, please make sure that your mic is muted. Thank you very much. All right, so first and foremost, voice is really important. Sorry, it's really important that we keep our voices really well hydrated. That is because if you use your voice, you are going to have your vocal folds, your vocal cords, you might have heard them be called that, they're going to be used to a really high effort. So like they vibrate sometimes a few hundred times per second. So they have to be really hydrated and properly lubricated. And that hydration happens through well drinking water. But you want to at least be drinking water 10 to 15 minutes before doing any strenuous voice work. That is because when you drink that water will only go to your voice through the blood flow of your body. So be sure to drink water 10 to 15 minutes before doing any voice work. There are certain medications that could be important to be aware of that could be potentially dehydrating your body. So medications such as hay fever medication or, for example, spironolactone are types of medications that are known to dehydrate the body. Of course, if you take those medications, you probably do so for a very good reason. So be sure that you do not stop taking those, but maybe try to take that medication in the evening or at times where you will not be doing any voice work. So that's really important. Other things such as alcohol, smoking, or caffeine are also known to dehydrate the voice. So, if you take the morning coffee, maybe don't jump directly into voice work. Make sure to drink water beforehand and rest your voice. All right, that's the whole thing on vocal hygiene. We also want to be warming up our voice properly, but that's something we'll be doing in a little bit after I explain how a voice functions. So let's get started. What exactly is voice? Well, we're not going to get into the really deep details, but here's a model that's easy enough to understand. This is the power source filter model, and it stands basically for, your voice cut into three main categories. Your voice functions by pushing air from your lungs. That will be the power. Once that air moves up, it moves up this tube called a trachea. It moves up to then the voice box that is right behind your Adam's apple, the little ball on your neck, if you will. And inside that voice box, which we call the larynx, you'll find vocal folds. And these little flaps can vibrate thanks to the air that you provide to them. Now, with that being said, you use the air, that power, you set those vocal folds in vibration, and they create what we call a right? That's the resulting sound from the vibration of the vocal folds. And as they vibrate, they create that sound which will then move up and reverberate in this filter, which we call the vocal tract. And this is where it gets really interesting because you will literally be filtering out some of the frequencies of the source sound. And by filtering them in different ways, you can achieve really bright and feminine voices or really dark and masculine voices. All right? So most importantly, the thing that most people don't talk about is the filter part of voice. So be sure to, really listen through this because most of you might know about pitch. I see some new faces here. So filter here, you might have heard the term used resonance before. That's what it refers to. It is the total size of the vocal tract, have a bigger size and you achieve a darker voice, have a smaller size and you achieve a brighter voice. All right, with that said, let's move on into the next part. Very important here, I'm not here to teach you how to sound specifically like a super high femme voice, or I'm not here to teach you how to sound specifically like
a super dark masculine voice, right?
The point here is to show you what we want to be changing in terms of biology. So of course, we can't really change our bodies to an extreme extent without hormones or surgery or whatever. But there's a lot we can do with behavior. And first we have to understand what differentiates a feminine voice from a masculine voice. And that dimorphism happens due to exposure to testosterone. So very simply put, we have testosterone affecting our voice. So how does testosterone make a voice become more masculine? Well, first thing that will happen is your Adam's apple, or your larynx if you prefer, will
drop. As the Adam's apple drops, you get this much darker, much hollower sound, right? It's a bigger space, so the frequencies that are emphasized here are lower frequencies. The second thing that happens due to testosterone exposure is going to be the speed of vibration of the vocal folds, which you can just call pitch. And so the pitch will
So you will get a really low pitch together with a really big space. And that's already a big part of how you make your voice sound more masculine. And the third thing that happens is, well, you get muscle growth, just like in the rest of your body. At least this depends on people, but I'll get back to that later. And once you get more vocal fold mass, you now get a much boomier, much more powerful voice. And by reverting all of these
three things, you can get to a femme voice. And that is the main gist, the main idea of how you can feminize your voice or masculinize it. So if you want to feminize it, revert all the effects of testosterone. If you want to
masculinize it, then mimic the effect of testosterone to the best of your abilities.
And that's pretty much it. So that's what I want to teach you today. How we can get your voice smaller and brighter if you want to go femme.
Bigger and darker if you want to sound masc.
Higher pitches if you want to be femme.
Lower pitches if you want to be masc.
And a softer voice if you want to go femme, or
a thicker voice if you want to go masculine.
Right? So these are the things we want to be modulating here. So let's try this out. First and foremost, we will do some vocal warm-up together. As I said before, vocal warm-up is really important to voice work. You know, you're not going to run a marathon without stretching your legs. Well, the same goes for the voice. You want to be warming that up. So you can all unmute for this little section, and I'll show you some sounds to do. I'll count to 3, and then you mimic after me. Sounds good? Let's try this. I go first. And you can all go together in 3, 2, 1. And back down. Very good. Now let's try this with a Z sound. I go first. And let's all go together in 3, 2, 1. Very good. Let's try it one more, this time with a lip trill. So we want to make the bubble sound of our lips like a brrr. Let's give this a try. I go first. And we all try this together in 3, 2, 1. Oh, whoops, sorry. I think I was muted. So good job, everyone. You did this really well. So now, please mute your mics again, and we'll be moving to the next section of this workshop, which will be to have two people up on stage who want to masculinize their voices and two people up on stage who want to feminize their voices. So if you are interested in coming up on stage, please raise your hand, jump in place, or do the hand emoji. And I'll be starting, as per usual, with masc voices. We don't see enough masc voices here. So let's see. Do we have any masc voice user? Anyone who wants to make their voices sound more
masculine? No, I don't see no jumping. I don't see no hands.
no hands raised? Oh, maybe. Not a vampire. I don't recall seeing your face on stage. Have you been on stage before?
No, this is my first time being here, actually.
All right, awesome. Well, then come up on stage. Come on, vampire. Oh, not a vampire. What's up?
The thing is that I'm sick and I just joined to listen. I can't talk very good.
Sorry, I was talking to vampire, and also, I dare assume you want to do fem voice. This is for masc voice. No worries. All right, everyone give a big round of applause to Not a Vampire. Woo! All right. Hello. Welcome. So what do I call you, Not a Vampire? If you're not a vampire, do I call you human? What are we going for here?
Vamp is fine.
Vamp is fine. All right, let's get started. We got 7 minutes starting now. All right. Hello, Vamp. Welcome. So you want to make your voice sound more masculine. Have you been around some of these workshops before, or are you completely new to this?
Completely new.
All right, perfect. So are you familiar with terms such as vocal tract size? Are you familiar with pitch? Are you familiar with vocal fold mass, or like weight in the voice? Or not at all?
Pitch, yes. A little bit weight, but that's about it.
Okay, so pitch, as you may know, da 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 da. The speed of vibration of the vocal folds. You know, our brains, when it comes to gender perception, expect a non-testosterone exposed voice to generally have less length to create a vibration. And so to mimic a more masculine voice, we actually want to mimic the effect of testosterone when it comes to pitch. That is, go for as low of a pitch as we can. But if you have not been exposed to testosterone, and everyone has testosterone in their body to a certain extent, it's also really important to say that we kind of react differently to it. Like, I had a lot of testosterone in my body, but it didn't affect me on every single level. For some it's more the body hairs, for some it's more of the voice. So it can depend a lot, even if you are quote unquote assigned, I don't know what you are assigned at birth, and I don't need to ask anyways. But testosterone exposure might have been different for you than it was for me, so you might have some limits as how low your range can go, but nothing that some behavior practice can at least get you a little bit further down. So first and foremost, I'm going to ask you to give me a slide from your highest pitch down to your lowest pitch. Give it a try.
Okay.
All right, here. D3, that's pretty solid. Okay, that's already quite a low pitch. Very good. So now let's see. You did mention that you're familiar with the concept of weight. So weight is generally going to be about how much muscle we have in the voice. It's a super dumbed down version, but it's not really what it is. The way I could put it the best is you're looking for that buzziness, you're looking for that weight, and rather you're looking to that more powerful voice production that gives you more texture to the voice. That is being, if you have a really soft voice, you know, it's like you're engaging very little of the vocal muscles. And if you have like a really heavy voice that has a lot of weight, you tend to engage a lot more vocal muscle. Think about it like, you know, when you're doing like a really high effort, like trying to lift a box, the box was really heavy, and so my muscles all across my body engaged in this effort, but so did my voice, kind of as as a like splash effect of the rest of the body tensing up, right? So is that something you've practiced a bit? Tried to like make your voice sound thicker and buzzier? Have you already tried that?
Not really. I've heard other people try it, but not really myself.
All right, then we'll be giving it a little try in a bit. And last but not least is going to be about the brightness, or rather in your case, the darkness of your voice. You want to make your voice sound
Darker, to lean more masculine.
and to do so, you need to achieve a bigger vocal tract space, right? This will literally tell to the listener's ears, oh, that is a dark sound. I'm expecting a big body. And so, because I expect a big body, I expect something more masculine, right? So let's try this out. I want you to say the sentence, pat that cat, on a whisper. Something like, pat that cat. Give it a try.
Pat that cat.
Perfect. And as you might have noticed, your whisper is quite bright. Pat that cat. You could kind of say it's androgynous or feminine leaning. Now let's try to make the whisper a lot darker, from pat that cat to
Pat that cat.
having a bigger vocal tract as a result. So let's try this together. Let's do like a kind of call and response thing. I go and you go right after. Okay?
Okay.
Let's try this. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Let's try this. Pat, pat,
Pat, pat, pat.
Pat, pat, pat.
Okay, so around here, pa, pa, pa. Okay, so the resulting voice could sound like this, pa, 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 like around here. So
that's already quite some darkness. That's very good. Now what I want you to do as an extra, doesn't seem like your avatar is tracking here, so what you can do here is take your hand and put it gently on your neck. Don't press down, don't squeeze it, don't hold anything in place. You just want to feel for the little bump on your neck. Can you feel it?
Yeah.
Awesome. So as you do that really bright pat, 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 you might notice that it's either in the middle or rather higher up. And as you go towards a darker one, pat, 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 you might notice that it drops lower and lower and lower. I want you to try the same thing we did before. Pat, 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 pat. Okay? But you're going to do this monitoring how the bump on your neck moves. Give it a try.
Okay.
All right, very good. Can you describe kind of how that felt?
It was funny feeling it go like you said, kind of go from towards the top of the throat towards like not quite the bottom, but like lower.
Kind of like towards the collarbone, right? Like it's either
Yeah.
towards the chin, higher up, or
towards the collarbone, like lower down, right?
And so the lower you
Yeah.
can get it, the bigger of a space you get. And you already do this in day-to-day life when you yawn, right? When you yawn, it shoots all the way down. And you can notice in the yawn, it sounds really dark. Even if you don't go as crazy dark as I do, like,
Or it's a big troll, like yawn, you know, like a big creature.
I mean, some people might yawn like that, probably not you, perhaps. Maybe you might have something like,
Maybe something that doesn't go like
as low. But still, there's something that we can do here. Now, I want you to like get familiar with that sensation of having your Adam's apple, your larynx, be lower down. Pat, pat, pat,
pat, pat.
and then I want you to stay there. Use your hands to monitor where it is. Pat, pat, pat.
Pa, pa, pa. Go ahead and kind of like try to keep it there. Don't let shoot it back up.
Yeah.
Pa, pa, pa. Does it want to go back up already? Pat that cat. Yeah.
So different. Right? Can you say a yeah how you normally would say it?
Yeah.
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 So you see,
That's so
there's
weird.
quite a shift, right? So let's do something really quick. That's not the right graph. All right, here we go. I want you to try and tell me now. Tell me when the slide has loaded for you here on the board. All right, probably has loaded now. And I want you
Yeah.
to say that really dark pat that cat. Pat, pat,
Pa, pa, pa. Pat that cat.
listen for that really dark whisper.
Pa, pa, pat that cat.
Try it out. And then from here, I want you to say, instead of pat that cat, still really dark, you're going to say,
That mad brat.
be careful here because you're engaging a bit of your vocal folds here.
That mad brat said, oh, that mad.
You really want to stay on that dark whisper.
That mad brat.
Be careful here, this is what happened. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. You kind of went slightly higher as you were saying it. I don't know, were you still having your hand on your neck to kind of monitor where it is?
Yeah, I was having a
Did
little
it move a bit
trouble,
up?
like, watching both of them.
That's the whole thing with voice. You kind of have to pay attention to a lot of details. Is my pitch low enough? Is my weight heavy enough? Am I dark enough? It's a lot of juggling of vocal qualities. So just listen to the overall sound and, that's the most important. Now try that mad brat on the whisper. That's mad brat. And then you're going to take the word that and make that brighter. Darker, sorry. That. Very good. And keep it there and try to bridge to let's choose this pitch, should be doable for you. So
that mad brat.
That mad brat.
so careful here.
That mad brat. So kind of like went back up. Not as bright as what you usually do. That mad brat. But it could have staged darker.
I've heard you go darker. So this is kind of where you want to be playing around with this a little bit.
That mad brat.
Also, it was a substantially higher pitch. So just try to read that sentence here
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
and try to bring it as low as you can. Give it a try.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay, so you're here.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Okay, mimic after me. That mad brat.
That mad brat.
You're here. That mad brat. That mad brat.
That mad brat.
That mad brat.
That mad brat.
That mad brat.
Now,
That mad brat.
yeah, just like that.
That mad brat.
Exactly. Try to say the whole sentence like this.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Mad brat sat on that flat mat.
All right, and then try to make it slightly louder.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
So this was interesting because it got you more weight here. That from like
That mad brat to
that mad brat sat, but it also kind of got brighter. That mad brat, right? So it kind of shot back up. So I know it's a lot for you to juggle with weight, loudness, how big the vocal tract is, how dark it sounds. So it's a lot of things to juggle with. But already you notice the difference between the yeah and
yeah.
right? So this is something for you to play around with and kind of see what you can do with it, right? Like first time doing this and you already are getting quite some results. So yeah, that's for you to play with the vamp. I hope that you get a lot out of this and hopefully, your voice work brings you the voice that you want to achieve. Do you have any questions?
No, I think I need to play with this more. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Be sure to record your voice if that's not too dysphoria-inducing to you. Listen back to it. Think about it. The feedback loop, right? Okay, I do a voice.
That mad brat.
I listen back to the recording.
That mad brat.
what happened? How can I improve this? For example, like
The pitch was G sharp 3.
I know that when you did the slide from oh, you did a D3, which is quite low. So you could use lower pitches. Maybe use like a pitch monitoring app or like a guitar tuner to see what your voice does, how low it is, and try to achieve the lowest voice you can comfortably. And
You know, keep that really dark voice.
you'll get your mask voice in no time. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Everyone give a big round of applause to Vamp! Woo! All right, perfect. So next up on the stage, I want to see someone who wants to do a femme voice. Raise your hand if you want to jump in place. All right. So let's see. Top Vice, have you already been on stage before?
Yeah, but for masculinization.
You have been on stage before?
Yeah, but for masculinization.
For masculinization, and now you want to do feminization. It's not against you, but I do want to get new people up on stage just because there's a lot of people. So,
Okay, okay, that's alright.
it's all right. Thank you for understanding. Jay Gabriel, you've already been on stage before? Nope.
No, this is my first time.
First time. Come up on stage. Come on, come on.
No, yeah.
Everyone give a big round of applause to Jay Gabriel. Woo! Is it Jay? Is it Gabriel? What do I go for to call you?
Jay is the first name, Gabriel is the second one.
All right, perfect. Then I'm just going to go for Jay. All right, Jay, first time ever in one of these workshops? Or you have been around, not on stage specifically, but you've learned a bit
Not on
watching
stage.
others?
I've not been on stage specifically, but I was like here last week.
Okay, gotcha. So what's your experience with voice? Maybe did you do some voice acting, some singing, anything of the likes?
I mainly do some voice acting on just on my own time.
That's
The
awesome.
main thing.
All right, that's great. What kind of voices can you do? Not putting you on the spot or whatever, but
Yeah.
if you want to share.
Like I can I can go kind of soft. I can also kind of go a little high. I can go kind of deep as well, but I'm here for feminization. More androgynous,
Okay.
but still.
That's totally fair. Let's try to work towards feminization of the voice, and then we can kind of like approximate that to androgyny. All right, so
Yeah.
let's see what the tools at our disposition are. First of all, I want to hear a slide from your lowest pitch up to your highest pitch. Something like, ooh. Give it a try.
Then give it a little bit.
Oh, maybe you have noise suppression on.
Yeah. Maybe I don't know. But I know sometimes I lag a little bit, so.
Okay, let's try it, and I'll see if we need to look at this or not. Try it out. Oh, yeah, you definitely didn't come through. So just open your quick menu and go into the sound settings. Once you're in the sound settings, I want you to scroll down a little bit, and you're going to look for noise suppression under the audio category. Once you've finished, you want to turn that off. Did you get it?
Alright. So in sound settings,
So microphone settings.
microphone. Okay, there's the microphone. Noise
All right.
suppression is off.
All right, below
Already
that.
off.
All right, below that you have the mic activation threshold. You can turn that down to 0% to the very left. Yep, we got it.
I'm on controller, so I have to very
Oh gosh.
yeah, very delicately.
Very slowly.
There we go. There we go.
You got it? Yay!
Finally got it. Yeah. Yippee!
Yippee! All right, let's try this again. From low to high. Oh.
Oh. Did that go moving?
Oh. So it's cut off a little bit. Maybe it's due to whatever headset you might be using, or maybe
Yeah,
lag, as
my
you said
mic is
before.
kind of bad.
Yeah,
My mic
maybe
is
a
kind of
little
bad.
bit.
So.
Maybe it has like built-in noise suppression, so maybe you want to look at that if you want to do like further practice on your own, if you record your voice. But if you want to practice your voice, I would just recommend using your phones. There's really good apps to track the pitch and, you know, listen back to your voice, which might be a better microphone than your headset microphone. So
Maybe.
just as a heads up for the future. All right, let's see. So, so you can go quite high. That's very good. We have some options in terms of pitch. All right, perfect. Now, what I want you to do is we're already on the slide of some sentences. So, you know what? I'm going to put you on the spot, and I want to hear how you read that first sentence normally, how you usually read it.
Like voice, like normal speaking.
Yeah, just normal speaking.
Man, right, sat on the flat mat.
Okay, so we're around here, and that man Brad sounded a flat man, right? So we have like a few things we can talk about. First, the pitch is like around an A2. We're in the second octave. Most time voices tend to be in the third, like upper third, and sometimes fourth octave. So we can already take the pitch higher up. Da, 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 da. Try to match my pitch here. Ah. Oh, did I come through? Ah.
I might have not come through though.
Maybe what's happening is your mic might be saturating and it's cutting your voice off. That's maybe what's
That might be.
happening. Let's try this. After me. Ah. Ah. All right. Ah.
Might also
Again?
be quiet as well. That might be an
Ah. I don't know. Would you say that it went louder or it went quieter when you did it? Ah.
issue. When I do it, I tend to be quieter when I go
Okay.
high, so that might be an issue.
So is it like a headset mic with like a little thing you can kind of like bring closer or further away, or?
I can I can get a little closer with it.
All right, let's try it again. Great. That pitch is great. And now keep that pitch and say, that mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on a flat mat.
Careful here. We started here. That mad brat sat on a flat mat. That mad brat. Look, you're like a robot avatar. You want to speak like a robot. Beep boop, monotonous.
Yeah.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Try it out.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
So that mad brat sat on that flat mat. Da da da. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
Keep going. Da da da. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That that mad brat flat sat. Fuck.
Oh.
Fuck up the entire sentence there. Oh.
Take your time.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
To start with, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. And he kind of like lost it at the end. That mad brat sat on the little man. Alright. So yeah, let's not do the full sentence. Let's just say that mad brat. Or let's say rather, pat that cat. Easy. Petting a cat. Pat that cat.
Yeah. Pat that cat.
Awesome. So we have this pat that cat. You're at the right pitch, but we want to make your voice a bit softer from pat that cat to Pat that cat. Try to soften it up.
That cat.
All right, we're already halfway there. And now the last thing to do, and the most important one, is to brighten your voice. So what I want you to do is take your hand in real life, put it on your neck, and find a little bump on your neck, your Adam's apple, right? Did you get it? All right, awesome. With that Adam's apple found, what I want you to do is say this sentence, pat that cat, this time on a whisper. Let's start like a really big whisper.
That cat really dark.
Try it out.
Pat that cat.
Let's do a whisper. Imagine you're really late at night. You have to be quiet. Hey, shh. Whisper. Pat that cat. Yeah, maybe getting whispers through that mic might have not been the most easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to trust that you do the exercise right. Be really careful about the sound you make. If you need to, close your eyes, and I want you to try to visualize like a line moving up. Pods, 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 pods. Like you're moving up a scale, da 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 da. But this time just with the whispers, and you want to make your really dark pad go brighter and brighter and brighter. Give it a try. Did you get it?
Yeah, a little higher, yeah.
Very good. So you want to keep it as high as possible, not to the point where it kind of like squeezes and squishes your voice. So like just do it high enough so it's making the pat sound much brighter, like pat that cat, instead of a pat that cat. So effectively making the whisper more feminine if we want to simplify it. And once you have that, you want to kind of like keep your Adam's apple there. Like not with your hand, just with the muscles and how you brought it up by exploring with the sound. Once you got that, pat that cat. We're going to go back to, it was F3. And we're going to try this. Pat that cat. Try it out.
Sorry, I liked a little though, so you kind of cut out there.
All right, so very simply, do the bright pat, and then you're going to try this. Pat that cat.
That cat.
Careful. We went back to a lower pitch. This is theoretically possible to feminize a lower pitch, but it's generally more difficult because as you go to lower pitches, you have the tendency to kind of pick up old behaviors from like your masc voice, right? So really try to aim for that high pitch. Da 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 da. Pat that cat. Let's try it again, Jay.
Pat that cat.
Yes, just like that. Pat that cat. Very good. Do you feel like your Adam's apple is higher than usual, or it's kind of like about the same place?
Yes,
Very good.
it's a little higher than usual, yeah.
That's awesome. Might be because by naturally going to higher pitches, you might already bring your Adam's apple higher, but that doesn't mean that it will stay up there the entire time. Your goal will be to learn how to speak with that Adam's apple up high there at most times. It might jiggle around a little bit, move a little bit higher or lower depending on what vowel sounds you do. E, O, U. Different tongue positions mean sometimes a different Adam's apple position, but you want to keep it generally much higher than what your masc voice does, okay? To achieve that more feminine voice that you can then kind of mix and match with the masc voice to make it sound more androgynous, because that seems to be your end goal. So, the mic didn't really help, but I hope that with maybe your phone mic and listening back to your voice, you'll be able to put some of these exercises to good use, and hopefully you'll get to the goal voice that you have in mind. Do you have any questions before we wrap it up?
Not that think of, not really any questions.
All
Not
right,
that I can think of
perfect.
immediately, no.
I did mention that there's some really good phone apps that you can use to practice your voice with. Do you have an Android phone or iOS phone?
Android.
I heavily recommend using Vocal Pitch Monitor. See, it's showing you literally the line of the pitch as your voice progresses. It has a record feature. You can record your voice and listen back to it. So just like, for example, I'm right here on it. I can check my pitch. I can go like, pa, 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 pa.
Pat that cat.
I can stop it. And then, of course, listen back to it. Let's hear it.
Pat that cat.
And here I can be like, okay, I heard it go wrong somewhere. Really small space. And then I bridge to my voice. But here we heard it went like,
Oh, pat that cat.
so I lost my Adam's apple position and went back down lower. So then I can listen to that and be like, oh, it went darker. So I need to keep my Adam's apple higher up and kind of keep that brighter sound. Okay, so this is the one app I would really recommend for you to use. It has the record feature, probably a better mic than your current mic. So definitely give it a try. And yeah, now you're allowed to go off the stage, Jay. Very good job. Everyone, please give a big round of applause to Jay. You did really well despite the circumstances. Woo! Yippee! All right. Next up on stage, I want to have someone who wants to make their voices sound
More masculine. Do we
have any person interested in making their voices more masculine? If you are, jump in place, or raise your hand, or use the hand emoji. All right, do we have mask voice users in the crowd? Maybe not. Maybe not today. Are we gonna do fem voice extra rounds? All right, 3, 2, 1. All right. We got another fem voice user then on stage if you want to go up. Maria, did you raise your hand for mask voice or was it a mistake of yours? Oh.
For femboys.
For fem voice. All right.
Yes.
Come up on stage. Come on, come on. Everyone give a big round of applause to Maria. Oh, on the side here. Yeah. Okay. Big applause to Maria. Woo! Woo. Hi. Hello, Maria. Have you ever been on stage before? I don't think I've seen you before.
No, it's my first time like joining the classes.
All right, awesome. Welcome. So we are going to get started. I'm setting up the timer. Let's go. So Maria, what's your knowledge on voice so far? Like, are you familiar with terms such as vocal tract size or brightness, darkness? Are you familiar with pitch or familiar with vocal weight?
I have some knowledge because I watched some videos because I recently came out. It's like a new thing.
Oh, wow. Welcome. Congrats. Woo! You're really brave and really strong. So let's see, how can we get your voice to be as femme as you feel comfortable having it? So let's give this a try. I first want to hear a slide from your
lowest pitch
up to your highest pitch. Give it a try. Very good. The pitch here is it's a B free. We don't even need to go that high, so you already have quite some range. Very good. I want you to match my pitch here. Very good. And now from here, you want to read. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Very good. That's already really close to a femme voice, see? That mad brat sat on that flat mat. How do we get it even more femme? Well, first of all, of course, by breaking the intonation. So going for something like, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. Do you want to try doing like a more versatile intonation that moves up and down?
And let me try. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Now this was a bit like,
that mad brat
sat on that flat mat. So we kind of see how the older behavior of your voice kind of kicks back in, you know? Like like you're used to talking down here or whatever your masc voice does, right? Like we don't all have the same starting masc voice. For some, we start down here. For some, we start up here. For some, we might even start up here. Really depends on the starting point. Everyone's different. But you actually did really well by keeping the quality of the voice monotonously. So let's try to see how we can get it more reliably bright and high in pitch and such. So I want you to try and say the sentence, pat that cat, first, like this. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
All right. So I want you also have like your hand on your neck, and I want you to feel for the Adam's apple. All right. Just hold it there. Don't hold the Adam's apple. Just like have the hand monitor where it is. I want you to still have your hand there and just say pat the cat in your masc voice. Give it a try.
Pat that cat.
Yeah. Did you notice it drop like
Pat that cat.
Yep.
yeah. All right. So now again, pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Did it go back up?
Yep.
Very good. Now, here what happens is your voice gets brighter by kind of like naturally following the trend of pitch going higher. But this is kind of where it gets really weird because you're going to want to use an intonated voice. You don't want to speak like a robot. Beep boop, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. That's not going to work for you. You're going to want to have something like, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. So like there's evolution going upwards in pitch and downwards. And this is mostly the downwards pitch vector that might kind of make it more difficult for you to keep that brightness. So let's try this together. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Very good. Let's go lower. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Great. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
All right. We're now on F3. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
And now you might notice that you're more like a pat that cat. So your voice is kind of like darker, right? It's starting to go closer and closer to the bigger space that you have with your masculine voice, right? Or rather with your starting voice, because it's kind of, I don't know, gender is weird, all right? Pat that cat. So now what you want to do is, okay, this pitch F3, it still is, yes, it is an overlap with the masc range most of the time. Also, this is a common socially gendered ranges graph, right? So you don't have to follow these to sound feminine or masculine. These are just suggestions to where most femme voices fall into and where most masc voices fall into. Of course,
You can have a really high pitch, like way up here, and still sound really masculine. And you can have
a really, really low pitch and still sound feminine, right? Kind of like gives more mature kind of femme voice vibes, you know? So it really depends on kind of what kind of voice you go for. But F3, that's the pitch we can definitely feminize and keep in the femme range. So you're starting to get
this more yawning quality.
So what I want you to say is pat that cat on a whisper, like this.
Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Very good. Careful here. I hear the pat that cat almost like whistling. Pat that cat. So the whisper is really strong here. Try to make the whisper just a bit gentler and more soft. Don't try to push a lot of air, but like push less air out, like pat that cat. Try it out.
Pat that cat.
That's already magnitudes better. Now I want you to try and scale it from a really low one
Pat that cat.
to a really bright one.
Pa, pa.
Pat that cat. Give it a try.
Pa, 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 pa. Pat that cat.
All right, very good. Pa, 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 pa. And now that, yes. And now if you noticed with your hand on your neck, you might have felt that it went all the way up, just like it did before with the higher pitch. But this time, instead of aiming for that really high pitch, we're going to aim for that lower pitch, that F3. Da, 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 is here. So, pat that cat. And now we're going to try this. Pat that cat. Give it a try.
Pat that cat.
So there's an issue. I didn't hear the whisper quite go into it. So maybe you had like some noise suppression issues that cut off, or maybe you just jumped directly into it.
Okay, we can do it again.
Alright.
I can put.
No. All right, let's try this again.
Can you?
Yes.
No. You can go.
Okay. So first we're gonna go whisper into breathy into balanced. So faster. It sounds like pat that cat. Give it a try.
Pat that cat.
So that was really good, but you shot for a higher pitch. Pat that cat G3, right? So you want to keep that same quality, but go lower in pitch. But don't let your Adam's apple drop. Keep it high as you can. Pa 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 pa. Pat that cat. Give it a try.
Pat that cat.
I know we're here, pat that cat. We went much lower, right? So accuracy is a bit of an issue. We went much lower than we wanted to. All right, so you have to be careful with this here. So, I mean, what's interesting is like most of your fem range is around here. You actually keep your Adam's apple pretty high. You keep a pretty soft voice, pretty bright voice, which is really good. So I want to try a few things before we wrap it up here. I want to go back to this sentence, and I want you to mimic after me to the best of your ability. All right, let's try this. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Sounds very good. Now let's try this. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Great, and the same thing but down this time. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Very good. That already sounds very femme. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. A bit unnatural because we are moving like, kind of like robots, like pitch by pitch we move down. And let's try something different. We go low, high, low. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad. Wait.
The lower pitches. It's always the lower pitches that make it tricky. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Sorry, go on.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
Beautiful. And the other way around. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
And let's try this. That mad brat. That mad brat.
That mad brat.
Beautiful. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
There you go. That's femme voice. There you go. That's it. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. A little nitpick here. that mad brat sat on that flat mat. It was a bit darker, kind of like you kind of ended up yawning in a feminine voice. That mad brat sat on that flat mat, right? So careful with that lower pitch as it kind of like had your larynx drop a little bit, had your Adam's apple drop a bit, creating a bigger size. So the general gist here, I think, is you are pretty much a natural when it comes to keeping your brightness up, especially at those higher pitches as we saw. But as soon as you get close to F3, E3 and below that, you're starting to kind of have the voice kind of like become a more yawny and low and closer to a masc voice. So what you would want to work on is probably try to stay around that range when you use your fem voice. And if you want to explore, you know, wider intonations, because either you have a really monotonous voice like that mad brat sat on a flat mat, or you want to have that mad brat sat on that flat mat, right? You have like a really intonated voice with a lot of variation, or a really big range, or a really narrow range. That's up to you to see what you prefer for a fem voice. But I would definitely recommend trying to feminize these pitches, F3, E3, D sharp 3, and D3. These can be very useful if you want to like kind of end a sentence or da 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 and end a sentence on a low pitch without da 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 ending into a more masc sound, right? So that's what I would recommend. Try using the pat that cat, make it brighter, keep the Adam's apple high, and try to do so on lower pitches. And I think that will be doing most of the work for you. Other than that, use maybe a pitch monitor and try to stay in the range from like F3 to C4. Maybe play above, maybe play a bit below, and see how that works out for you. Okay?
Okay.
A very, very positive and really strong start for a fem voice. So everyone, please give a big round of applause to Maria. You've really killed it. Woo! Good job! All right. Good job, Maria. I
Thanks.
hope you get your whole voice in no time. Bye-bye! All right, next but not least, or rather last person, but not the least, I guess we're gonna go for fem voice again. So bonus fem voice round. Anyone wants to come up on stage? Just jump in place. All right, I didn't take anyone from this side. So all right, Hedgecrafts, have you already been on stage before?
No, I've not.
All right, come up on stage. This side works, whichever you prefer. All right, and give a big round of applause to Hedgecraft. Woo! Right. Hello, first time here. Let's get started. Timer is running. Welcome. Hi. Are you familiar with some of the voice terms we use around here?
Resonance I've been practicing with, but it's my first time actually at your classes, so.
All right, you've been
That's what I've been
to
practicing
Jess's?
with. No, I've been watching Yuko's videos and stuff online mainly.
Okay, I would just preface this. Yuko is an entertainer, not a voice coach.
Yeah.
I have reviewed with Jessa, and we have seen that some stuff is alright, and there's some stuff that's problematic. So, you know, double check your sources before you get into voice practice. But at the end of the day, you are using your voice, so it's always positive, right? You are using your voice, and you're doing some work with it. So let's try to see together what we can do. First of all, I want to see and hear what you'd naturally go for. I can kind of hear already some brightness in your voice due to that smaller vocal tract. So I want to see how you will read that first sentence just on the get-go. If that's too much, putting you on the spot, you tell me. We can try something together. So let me know
Let me try
what you want to do.
switch more to the voice I normally try to go for.
Give it a try.
The mad brat sat on the flat mat.
That's pretty solid. That mad bro sat on the flat mat. So it's really soft. That mad bro sat on the flat mat. It's really soft. It's really bright. But as you might have noticed, as you go down in pitch, that mad bro sat on the flat mat. The size gets a bit bigger, or with terms you know already, your resonance gets darker, right? That mad bro sat on the flat mat. So let's try this together. I want you to mimic after me. So we're here. What's the pitch here? Pretty good pitch. Now try this. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
And see, now the issue of your voice getting darker, of having a bigger size, goes away completely. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Maybe it's not as bright as I do. That mad brat, that's overshooting it. But, you know, we can always try and boost that up. So let's see if we can get that brighter. So I want you to say that mad brat on a whisper. So,
That mad brat. Mad brat sat
let's,
on.
yeah. Let's make that brighter now.
That brat. That.
All right, careful here. What you're doing here is phonating. So your vocal folds are starting to vibrate. That. Whilst it did get your voice brighter, let's try to just stay in a whisper, because when we have just a whisper, we can directly hear how big our vocal tract is. Have a really dark and low-pitched, quote-unquote, whisper, because it's not really pitched. The vocal folds are not vibrating, but
That mad brat.
make it really dark.
That brat mad.
All right, and now try just to say that, and let's make it brighter.
That.
Very good. Try not to push as much air. I hear like a that. Maybe it's your mic, maybe you are pushing a lot of air, but it's better if you move with less air. Because this is very important, I have to preface this. When you use a breathy sound, or when you use a whisper sound, the vocal folds are not using the air that you provide to them. Instead, this is really drying to them. It's a really powerful tool, and this is really important for everyone, so open your ears. Whispers and breathy sounds can be a very powerful tool to hear how small or how dark, or sorry, how small the space or how big the space is, but we want to move away from them as soon as we can. It's good for like setting up the voice real quick, but you don't want to use them all the time. Mostly because as you use a lot of air, you might end up like coughing or having your voice get drier. Yeah, maybe you have felt that before. So it's important to try to like make the whisper as easy as possible by pushing less air. Yeah, that's much better. Yes. And then from here, you now have a higher larynx. You can literally feel it in your neck. That's mad. Beautiful. And now you're going to move from a whisper to a breathy sound to a full sound, to a balanced sound. So it sounds like pat, pa, that mad brat.
That mad brat.
Yes, that's very good. That's perfect. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
And that's an even brighter result than before, where you used to do something more like that mad brat sat. Now you're doing more of a that mad brat sat. It's a very minute and small change. So perceptually for most people, this is a feminine voice versus a feminine voice. You know, just one is slightly darker than the other. There's kind of like some range you can have. Not every femme voice has to be that mad brat sat on that flat mat. Being a little bit darker in reference to a femme voice, that mad brat sat on that flat mat works just fine. You don't have to go super bright, but it's a good option to have to play around with. So now we're doing really good. Let's try to play around with intonation. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
And go down. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
Careful here. That mad brat sat on the flat mat. We got a bit more weight. That mad brat sat on the flat
mat.
mat. There you go.
Mat.
Very good. Let's try this. That mad brat.
Mad brat.
That's mad.
Mad brat.
Good. That mad brat sat.
That mad brat
Very
sat.
good. That mad brat. Careful. That mad brat. There you go.
That mad brat
Sat on that flat mat. Sorry, I can cut you off. Right, do the whole sentence. It's your turn.
The mat brat sat on the flat mat.
Very good. Careful here. That mad brat sat on the the fla got a bit dark. Try this. Flat, 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 flat.
Flat, flat, flat.
All right, very good.
Flat.
I didn't quite hear you go from a really dark to a really bright
Oh,
one.
sorry.
But you already jumped brighter, so that's all that mattered. So if you ever notice that your voice gets darker, that mad brat sat on a flat mat. You can either just retry the sentence, or you can just try and troubleshoot the word itself. Maybe it's the F sound that threw you off. Sorry. Maybe it's the L sound, that could be made brighter. Maybe it's the A sound or the T sound.
La, la, la.
So you can try to take that on a whisper and flat, flat,
Flat, flat, flat.
Yeah.
Flat, flat.
Oh,
I
flat,
think
flat,
I see it.
flat. Yeah. All right. So basically, it's kind of just doing like flat, 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 but with your voice in the way. Flat, 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 flat. It's another
flat.
way to practice brightness. So yeah,
Okay.
think about it like going from a yawny version of your voice to a more bright version of your voice, like flat. Try to give me this really yawny. Flat.
Flat.
You might have, very good. You might have felt as if your Adam's apple went much lower, and because it did, flat. It's kind of like a solemn opera singer.
Flat.
Exactly. Really lean into that. And now you can try to flat. You notice it's down. You can put your hand on your neck and then feel as it goes higher. Flat, 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 flat. All right, very good. You did go brighter, but careful. You also went up in pitch. Flat. So both the pitch went high and the brightness with it. So that's something you want to be careful with if you want to practice, especially because pitch can be one of the reasons for why your voice might be kind of losing that quality of that really bright voice. So it's important to like, okay, what pitch did I struggle on? Like a D sharp 3, for example, here. Flat. I can try to brighten that pitch. Flat, 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 flat. That's the same speed of vibration of the vocal folds, just changing the brightness.
Flat, flat.
Yeah, just like that. Flat, 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 flat. There you go, you got it. And now let's try this. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Very good.
Mad brat sat on the flat mat.
That's awesome. Nice. Let's try a higher pitch. Da 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 da. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
Very good. Da 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 da. Even higher. Why not? That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on the flat mat.
Very good. Careful here. That mad brat sat on a flat mat. It kind of like was almost too soft. That mad brat sat on a flat mat. Sat on that flat mat.
The mad brat sat on the flat mat.
Very good. Awesome. And I know that you might be like, okay, softness is what I want for a femme voice. And that might be true in comparison to a masc voice that has kind of like
An average vocal weight, right? If you bring that up in a
femme voice, then you're going to have a really buzzy voice. But having heard your masc voice, or quote unquote your masc voice, your starting voice at the start, I would say it's more androgynous, to be honest, your voice was already really soft. So you don't really need to push your voice even softer. You're fine keeping about the same vocal fold mass as you generally are using. So you might want to go towards like a that mad brat sat on that flat mat. You know, that might be a stylistic choice of yours if you want to have a really soft voice like this, right? But something you want to avoid is to kind of like mix and match the two. That mad brat sat on the flat mat. It kind of sounds weird to have like different intensities in one sentence, right? It's kind of like two different voices stitched together. That's mostly what clocks, quote unquote. It's not so much like an issue of the gender perception of the voice. It's more so like, something's off with this voice that doesn't sound natural. For example, hear a strong variation of weight. That mad brat sat on that flat mat, right? We expect either a fully thick voice, that mad brat sat on that flat mat, a fully balanced weight voice, that mad brat sat on that flat mat, or a fully soft voice, that mad brat sat on that flat mat, for example. So, okay, you've got a really strong start here. I mean, you seem to do pretty well. I think you kind of shared some issues with the person before you in the sense that the pitch is what kind of trips you up. Sometimes it was weight, that mad brat. Sometimes it was the softness, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. Sometimes it was just the sound getting darker. Darker, as in a bigger vocal tract size. That mad brat sat on that flat mat, right? So it's just little things for you to polish here and there. So it's more about making your voice more consistently bright because you can already kind of do that. And kind of like being aware of, okay, if I move my pitch down, I'm going to get closer to my old masc range. So there's a chance that I might drop the resonance, that I might drop my Adam's apple. So you want to be careful with that. Okay?
So
Yes.
I
You have
just
a
don't want
question.
to give a
Go on.
misconception to everyone. My
Oh no.
masc voice was when I start practicing, because I've been following along with you. I
Right?
find it hard to just switch back right away. So that wasn't quite my masc voice. It's a little bit farther down, but yeah.
Fair enough. It's kind of like a middle ground, right? Like it's kind of like a platform,
Yeah.
right? Like it's easier, it's like easier to get into a fem voice if you launch from here
Then, like, if you launch from down here, right? Like, that's much difficult.
you know. Even I get that sometimes in session. I'm like, okay, let's do a mask voice. This is the best I can do today. All right, I'm gonna go with this. You know, sometimes it's just the way it is. It's a matter of use it or you lose it, kind of, right? Because, for example, I use my femme voice a lot more than I use my mask voice for reasons that are my just gender identity overall. But because I use my femme voice so much, I tend to lean more into a softer voice. I use less of my vocal fold mass, and when I get to a mask voice,
Generally, the mask voice tends to sound softer because that's just easier to do. I don't have to, like, go into a really thick voice to sound particularly mask, but
you know, it takes some thinking, some time. This is just the new natural for me. I don't wake up being like,
another day of pretending to sound really femme.
my brain has kind of accepted that this is my kind of like neutral, natural range. And maybe that's also why your mask voice, misconception or not, is a little bit higher than before, right? Because your brain is being used to, okay, this is what my natural voice is kind of that, you know, slowly accepting your voice yourself, both, you know, consciously, but also like your brain is kind of like, I like old behaviors. I don't want to change behaviors. I remember I used to
Sound like this. Why do we sound
sound like this out of nowhere, you know. So it's kind of some of that. All right, I hope that I helped you out today. I think that you have a really solid start for a femme voice, even if you had like some strange advice from the internet, but I still think that you managed to pull it off pretty well. So just keep up at the practice, and I hope I'd see you around with an even better voice than before.
Thank you.
Heck
Thank
yeah.
you for your time again.
You're really welcome. Everyone give a big round of applause to Hedgecraft! Woo! All right.
Again.
You're welcome. Bye for now. All right. V, I'll be taking questions from the Discord. Ask ahead. If we have any, that is. All right. Does anyone have any questions in vrchat then? If you have a question, just raise your hand and get closer to the stage so I can hear you because y'all are really quiet. Anyone has a question?
Yeah. I saw the.
Yeah, get closer. Come really close to the stage so everyone can hear you.
Yep.
Zip. Oh, closer. Really stick to the stage.
Close. Okay. Like that.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Ask ahead.
So I thought of a question. To be what is like around the range of androgynous? like vocal range wise.
So androgyny is not properly defined like feminine or masculine is, just because our Western society tends to kind of hyper binary things up, you know. So androgyny doesn't have a really good definition yet, I feel. But generally, the consensus is kind of like a middle ground between the two. So it can be a middle ground in terms of pitch. It can be a middle ground in terms of how big your vocal tract is or how small that is. It can be a middle ground to as how thick your voice is or how thin your voice is, how buzzy or how soft it is. So in terms of pitch, there's no real range that exists. I think, you know, using kind of both of these ranges can be good. Generally speaking, I think you want to avoid really low pitches because really low pitches are going to tend to kind of lock your voice much closer to a masculine perception of your voice. People kind of don't expect non-testosterone exposed vocal tracts. So if you have testosterone in your body, you're more likely to have a longer vocal folds. If you don't have that, then it's a bit more up to the person to kind of figure out, okay, are they doing a high pitch on purpose or is it because they can't do a low pitch, right? So you kind of want to keep up that confusion if it comes to androgyny. So I would say like a good range would be like right in the middle here. I don't think too high of a pitch tends to be feminine. Maybe avoid anything above C4 and maybe avoid anything below, this is C, B, A, so anything below A, and just like try to keep your voice generally really soft or like in the medium range. In the current case, maybe it's your mic making your voice sound much buzzier than it is. Maybe that is the case, but you know, if it's not, then you kind of want to keep about the same weight. But from what I've heard, it sounds like you have quite a heavy voice, so you just want to go for something softer and kind of stay between a range of A3 to A2 to A3, and maybe try to see how much higher you can go, how much lower you can go, without the perception kind of breaking apart too much. Okay?
All right, yeah.
This is just a suggestion, of course.
Yeah.
So,
I just saw
like,
that question when
yeah.
when I was like kind of vibing back there, I thought of that question. I'm like, so is E3 F3 kind of like the androgynous range, or like so?
So the only reason for why you see E3 and F3 here, kind of like in an androgynous range-ish, is because there is a lot of overlap. You can have a femme voice that's na 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 da 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 da. Like right now, I am speaking at E3 in a femme voice, but I can change my vocal tract size.
Keep the same pitch, and now I sound masculine without any caveat, really, right? So I can sound really masculine with this voice, like by adding more weight, perhaps, or I can
Sound really feminine without changing the pitch at all, right? It's just a bit more robot-like because I'm not moving the pitch around as much. So like a gender neutral voice might be like something around here, like maybe that evolves between like more masculine sounds and one that's like a bit higher pitched. In a sense, I feel like a lot of in-between voices that people get before getting their desired femme voice or their desired masc voice can be categorized as androgynous. Some people are like, no, it's just not the right voice, but I kind of feel like the not right voices are quote unquote the androgynous voice because they're in between ranges. They are confusing because they're not like exactly what you expect of a femme voice or exactly what you expect of a masc voice. And I think like playing with those voices that are halfway there to super feminine and halfway there to super masculine is kind of where you find that androgyny mostly. So yeah, that was a bit of a lengthy answer, but I hope that answers your question, Jay.
That does help a lot. All right.
All right, that's awesome. You're welcome. Do you have other questions? Maybe someone typed in Discord? Oh god, go on. Safety question. Or short, whatever. Yeah. Okay. Oh God, I'm not on my best today. Honestly, it's hard to say because there's like usable range and there's like the flex range, like the one I can do like really high pitches. So like my usual range, I would say, is anywhere from like I would tend I say I generally go from like a D3 up to like it really depends. Like I can go up to here generally. So like my speaking range is around here, kind of. It can go up to C5, but I don't see really a lot of use for that. It's just a lot of effort, and it kind of makes me sound out of character, if it makes sense, because my range is mainly here, right? There's no reason for it to go extremely high, unless for portraying certain emotions. I honestly don't remember what my range was. I think I had it written down on the website.
Like I can like go around. Like I can go like around here maybe.
With practice and proper warm up, I can go around here. With like cheating, you can do different vocal techniques like to achieve like even lower pitches, whatever. Sorry, it's meant to be a short question. So I don't know, there's like really high pitches like in the 6th octave. I'm not going to do them right now that I can achieve sometimes, like kind of whistle notes. I don't know. I don't think the pitch ranges are super relevant unless you want to do like very specific singing or I don't know, maybe beatboxing or voice acting. But yeah, my range is about like the low end of the 2nd octave up to the 5th octave generally, and then above that it's kind of meh. It's all right, but not the best. All right. Hope that answers your question. And what was the safety question about, please? Dysphonia, yes, it's a real term. No, dysphonia is a very real term. Dysphonia, also sometimes called diplophonia, is what you get. Dysphonia just means dis of kind of dysfunctional, and phonia of well, sound production. So dysphonia is anything that could sound like, you know, maybe having a breathy voice without wanting to have a breathy voice, having maybe like really strange voices like speaking like this, where you have this really weird vibration of the vocal folds, kind of like a weird trill in the vocal folds. It can be a lot of things. Without hearing it, really hard to tell. If you have dysphonia, I would definitely kind of say like to look at practicing this with an SLP. I mean, if you know the term by itself already, either someone very knowledgeable on voice taught you that you had probably dysphonia, or maybe you already see an SLP. But other than like a medical professional, you know, I can't really give you medical advice on dysphonia. Generally, it's something more medical, like someone who has the tools to look directly at your voice, or who can do like a more regular checkup with you might be more suited for you. They might not be suited specifically for trans voice care, but you can at least trust them on the medical level, hopefully. I think that's generally like a safe thing to go for. So in terms of fem voice, you know, some SLPs will say, it's bad to keep your larynx high up there. Not really. It's bad to do this and that. Sometimes it's true that we can engage too many muscles. It's a very common beginner mistake to like tense the voice up. So it's something that you want to like maybe work at slowly. Always try to go for voice first rather than going for shooting hyper fem or hyper masc. I think you said fem voice, so yeah. For dysphonia, I would say look for a medical professional. I don't know if feminizing your voice causes your voice to carry over some of that dysphonia. That's a bit tricky for me to know without hearing it. But yeah. So seek a medical professional for the dysphonia. Maybe I can give you some advice on your fem voice by itself. But these are kind of two separate things. It's a bit of a tricky subject, so yeah. If you have more information, please do let me know in the voice training channel or wherever you ask the question. And then ping me so I can see it. All right, perfect. No more questions? Oh, all right. I think there is Zik near here. Come closer so I can hear you, and everyone can hear you. Come closer, come closer.
Well, hi. First up, thank you for these lessons. This is
You're welcome.
very accessible to someone like me who's easily overwhelmed with all the resources. I'm just starting out. This is my second lesson I'm partaking in, and my question is, when I try to practice my voice a bit, I tend to go like sing-songy or like start singing, humming, and I know that singing and voice training are similar but very different. Um, like sports, not sports, but like categories. Do you think it's harmful or maybe even advantageous to also be good at like femme singing, or is there like a trick you can use to get out of the singing kind of voice and more into the talking stage?
That's a bit of a tricky question because most people kind of. Okay, this is tricky. So sing-songy kind of. What bothers you? Like, do you feel like you're singing suddenly, like, never gonna give you up, like, that my brat sat on that flat mat. Da-da-da-da-da. No, I don't know. Like, how sing-songy do we get here, right? Like,
Like,
is it more
For
like?
example,
Mhm.
if we were doing the exercise with like the brat sat on the flat mat, then I would, I don't know, start singing like na na na, just like start singing instead of actually trying to talk, right?
Like, that mad brat sat on that flat mat. The crowbar
Yeah.
opened the subpar car. Instead of like,
Right,
the crowbar opened the subpar car, right?
right.
I mean, at the end of the day, when we speak, it's still a melody. It's just not a pleasing melody to listen to per se, right? That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Maybe you're just really musically inclined and you just really like to like hum things, and that's totally fine. But you saw what we did before with both Jay and Hedge. We were doing this kind of like that mad brat sat on that flat mat. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Going up or down, or that mad brat sat on that flat mat. So we actually were using kind of a singing-ish method, that melody, to kind of make the brightness more reliable, because once you kind of focus more on the pitch as like a more artificial thing, you can get more easy to like practice, keeping up the quality of a smaller vocal tract, of a brighter voice. And so this is where I feel like the sing-song would actually be somewhat beneficial. But if I say that mad brat sat on that flat mat, I'm also kind of sing-songing, right? I mean, I could also like go for a more monotonous voice and be like, ugh, whatever. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. It's not as intonated, still sounds femme, but it's like more boring, I guess. I'm just a drama queen. I love that mad brat sat on that flat mat, like all of that nice movement. And maybe you like that too, and that's okay. So it just depends. If you want to make it sound more natural, think of the context of the sentence first. Think of the information you want to convey. So what's important in this group of words? That mad brat is the actor. What does it do? It sits, so it sat. And what's the circumstance of how it sat? On that flat mat. And so now you start to hear that actually I'm not moving pitch around without purpose. That mad brat. I kind of put those three words as a group in a parenthesis. I move up and I move down. Now your brain is like, that mad brat. That's the actor. What happened with it? It sat. How did it sat? On that flat mat. And you can do this with any sentence. The crowbar opened the subpar car. So the crowbar opened the subpar car, right? Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. So it's kind of like this up and down. You want to put the most important word on the high pitch emphasis, if that makes sense. I'm not super well versed with like diction and stuff like that. I really know just the ground stuff on feminization and reaching a brighter voice. So maybe I'm not the best to ask advice for this, but that's already like some kind of pointers that you can follow to achieve something more feminine. Not feminine, sorry. Less sing-songy, something more natural. You could always ask yourself, how would I say this in my masc voice, right?
That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
And then try to transpose that up.
That mad brat sat, that mad brat sat,
That mad brat sat, that mad brat sat. The same way you could transpose a melody like da 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 da, right? You could transpose any melody higher or lower. So think of context, think of transposing your masc voice, and I'm sure you'll get to find something that sounds less sing-songy and that sounds more like a natural voice. And to answer the other question, no, singing is not a bad thing for a femme voice. I would say thinking of voice as singing only is a bit wrong because it's not. It's a bit more different, right? You kind of, when you sing, you always focus on how you're singing. But when you speak, you kind of put the voice at the back of your mind and you focus on the context of what you're saying first. So it's a very different process. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. It was a bit lengthy, but there you go.
Yeah, help. Thank you very much.
All right, you're very welcome, Sigmir. Hope I said the name right. Perfect. So let's wrap it up. So sorry, we're ending like half an hour at the end here. Oh gosh, so very sorry. Thank you for sticking around for so long.
There's someone here who has a question.
Okay. Oh, okay, that's very interesting. How come in this workshop we go on about that cat and not those snow flamingos or the squished fish? Honestly, there's a very simple answer for this. When you use different vowel sounds, you have different tongue positions. I wish I had a graph for this, but I don't yet, so this is something for me to work on. But basically, when you say the ah sound, ah, your tongue is like kind of like laying flat and low in your mouth. Ah, your lips are not rounded, they're just kind of like open. Ah, the sound is just passing through. It's kind of the least filtered sound in your voice. If you do a sound like an E, as in she sees the serene sea feeling free, then your tongue is like kind of up and all the way to the front of your mouth. E, right? And so as it is up, it is kind of distorting the sound a bit, but it's also playing on your Adam's apple position. So each vowel sound has a different lip shape and a different tongue shape. So a, o, e, e. If y'all are muted, you can do this. Like try to just like that, bar, bore, boot, bow, ba, and just like try to see how your lips move, how your tongue moves, and what position it has. And so we choose the a sound because it is generally the sound that has the highest larynx position, and the sound has the lowest tongue position. Whereas the E sound is exactly the opposite. The E sound has the smallest mouth and the smallest mouth size, but the biggest throat size because your tongue is moving forward in your mouth. And as a result of your tongue moving forward, there's now a bigger space at the back of your throat in your pharynx. Actually, I could probably show this better in here. Exactly. So for example, on the A sound, this space is really small, but this space is really big. And on the E sound, this space is really small because your tongue is taking all the space in the mouth. But because the tongue is moving forward to the E sound, this space is now bigger. And because that is the case, it sounds darker. This is why you might struggle more with an A sound, because you might rely a lot more on making the sound brighter with your mouth alone, where you actually want to also use the Adam's apple and move it up to brighten the overall voice. Okay? This is why we focus on saying pat, 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 pat. Always say pat and not go towards a pat, 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 pet, pet. Because if we switch the vowel around, then we can kind of lose some of the quality. Okay? So that's why we do the a lot. Yes, holding a swallow is bad for a very simple reason, and you actually can see it right here. What's this here? What's this thing? What's this thing? This tube goes to your stomach. So when you swallow, you close this passageway off. And so now you're supposed to speak whilst having the stomach open and having your lungs closed. I mean, try this at home. Actually, no, don't. It's probably a bad idea, but if you try to swallow and breathe at the same time, you're going to find it's really hard, and you're probably going to start sounding like a zombie or whatever. Yeah, you can't speak with it. So it's not recommended because you're basically squeezing down for like leaving all the space for the stomach because you're trying to swallow food. So whilst swallowing, it does indeed raise your Adam's apple. It also closes the trachea, so you can no longer breathe. And if you can't breathe, you can't use your voice. No, I'm not talking about hurting myself. You're not hurting yourself, but you're hurting your progress, because if you raise your Adam's apple by swallowing, then you're kind of like gonna engage a bunch of muscles, also including the false vocal folds, which make you sound like a grandma, for example, or like your witch, like these are a lot of muscles. Like, I believe, if I remember correctly, when you swallow, you engage like about 100 different muscles, which is like way more than what you want to be using when it comes to your voice. Of course, less is more, especially with something that you're going to use your entire life. Well, that is if that's what you want to do. If it's for voice acting, it's different, but, you know, swallowing, bad for that reason. 1, you can't breathe. 2, you engage too many muscles. And 3, how are you supposed to use a swallow to speak? Doesn't make a lot of sense. So whilst it might not hurt you, you think you get it. All right, awesome, great. So swallow and hold, bad, and we use the a vowel sound. Why? Because it has a neutral tongue position, and it kind of forces you to raise the Adam's apple by practicing with sound exploration. Sound exploration first. Always listen to your voice before trying to rely on a feeling of a body, right? The feeling of your body might help you out, but it should never be like what you always rely on. Sound is most powerful. Okay? Whew, that was a lot of questions answered. Let's wrap it up. So, thank you so much, V. All right, so I guess this is bye, YouTube. Bye, YouTube. Wow, bye. So, I'm going to be wrapping it up. So, I'm starting to get tired, and you can tell I'm slurring my words and not being very normal right now. So let's wrap it up. Hey, everyone. My name is Sally. I teach voice feminization, and I teach
Voice and masculinization.
I also teach singing, voice acting, and stuff such as human beatboxing with sounds such as So if you want to learn any of this, you know, I teach lessons on Discord. I do public lessons on my server, Scientifically Augmented Voice, which you can join by just clicking my name in vrchat. There's a link directly to it. I have like a clip feedbacks channel that you can like throw your clips in, and people that already work on their voices might give you some pointers, and I also might sometimes. So yeah, if you want to book a private lesson or a public lesson with me on Discord, you can do so at savvy_sav. We can discuss pricing, scheduling over there. Of course, we also have the #voice training channel in the Trans Academy Discord. Some of you are not in there, so what are you doing? Join it. Come on. Yeah, you can be a part of it. And there's also already a lot of people answering questions. Jessa answers questions there. I also answer questions in there. So be sure to check that out as well if you have questions for your voice. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed today's session. I'll see you around on the next one on the next Sunday. So thank you so much for all showing up today. I hope you learned plenty today. And I'll be catching you, as per usual, on next Sunday. Thank you, V, again, and bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yippee! All right, bye, everyone. You were amazing.